There are Jalen Ramsey trade rumors and cut speculation running rampant all over the place. So on this episode of Big Deke News, I'm here to set the record straight. What do we really need to be paying attention to from the Steelers standpoint with all this? Let's discuss further. Big Deke News. First, let's start off on whether or not the Rams are looking to move off of Jalen Ramsey this offseason. You have ESPN insiders like Jeremy Fowler wondering about this possibility. He says LA seems destined for a mini reset to recoup resources, and it must decide which marquee players it's comfortable letting go this offseason. Teams I've talked to wonder if the Rams will part with cornerback Jalen Ramsey, who has a $25.2 million cap hit. And rebuilding a sagging offensive line will go a long way to helping Coach Sean McVay regain his mojo on offense. So the reason for the Rams to move on is clear. Jalen Ramsey has a $25 million cap hit, and if they don't feel like his play anymore warrants that type of cap number, then yeah, I could see why it's time to move on. Especially when, like Jeremy Fowler said, the Rams are in this weird rebuild phase where they are already starting this offseason in the negatives with their cap space. So they're going to have to clear some room, and they have some other positions of need to address. So all this factors in as to why the Rams moving on from Jalen Ramsey makes sense. The problem, though, if the Rams were to just cut Jalen Ramsey is they're not really saving a lot of money doing it. As you can see on this chart on overthecap.com, if they were to cut him before June 1st, they would only be saving $600,000 and incur a dead cap of $24.6 million. Now, after June 1st, a little bit more of a different story. They'd be saving $12 million and have a dead cap of $13.2 million. I don't even know why a cut scenario would be discussed here to begin with, because if you're the Rams, aren't you trying to get something back in return if you're trying to move off from Jalen Ramsey? You got option A and option B. Move on from Jalen Ramsey, get nothing in return. Option B, move off from Jalen Ramsey, get some draft picks. So that's what I would envision the Rams be looking to do here. Because either way, they're clearing cap space, but maybe you could get some picks in return. And even though Ramsey's contract isn't the most ideal, he's still 28 years old and he's still Jalen Ramsey. So some team would be interested out there, right? So if you look at the charts on overthecap.com regarding a Jalen Ramsey trade, it would be a $19.6 million dead cap hit for 2023 for the Rams, but they would still get $5.6 million in savings, and presumably that 5.6 would be the cap hit for the team getting him. I'm getting mixed reviews on that. I was seeing it could also be $17 million, but either way, according to this chart, it looks like the cap hit for whatever team is getting Jalen Ramsey isn't as high as you would initially expect. You'd think it'd be over the 20s. But it's looking like it'd be in the teens. This is all a trade before June 1st, but then you have after, which is a little bit more favorable on the Rams side of things when you're talking about cap savings. They would only have $8.2 million in a dead cap hit, $17 million in savings, and you could see for 2024 and 2025 would that be. So by my estimations with all this, it's a little bit more logical for the Rams to wait post June 1st to make any type of move with Ramsey for optimal cap savings. The problem with that, though, is maybe the market won't be as robust at that point because we're going to be a couple months removed from the draft. A lot of teams will have their roster set. And if you were a cornerback-needy team going into this offseason, you probably addressed that in the draft then if you weren't able to trade for a cornerback like Jalen Ramsey. You got someone in the first, second, or third round, and you're excited about that guy going forward, and you're kind of a little bit more forgetful, or just it's not on the top of your mind to trade for someone like Ramsey with those type of cap numbers. Now, I'm not an expert with all this, so I don't know how these numbers can be finagled, if you could market trade for a future date, that type of stuff, retroactive shit. I have no clue with all that. But from the looks of it, if the Steelers were to trade for Ramsey, his cap hit number over the course of the rest of his contract wouldn't be over $20 million. That's a lot more feasible than what I thought, dating probably back like a month ago whenever these trade rumors were first brought up, where I thought we were going to be working in like the $23, $24, $25 million cap hit range. But what's the market? Does the 32nd pick in this upcoming draft get it done? what about the 32nd and maybe a future draft pick for 2024? I looked at Khalil Mack's trade last year, which is pretty similar with the whole contract stuff you got going on, an aging star at an important position, and he ended up going for a second and a sixth. But right now, I'd say Ramsey is worth more than what Khalil Mack was last year. So you take that second and a sixth, raise it up to a first round pick, like I said, the 32nd in this year's draft, and a fourth or a fifth. I mean, does that get it done? And honestly, it doesn't feel like that bad of a deal. The question is just, what does it mean for Highsmith's extension? What does it mean for Cam Sutton? Is he not coming back then? Are we able to still bring back Ogunjobi? Who knows? That's why Omar Khan gets paid the big bucks. But if you're making this trade, the case is you're bringing in a proven guy. You're bringing in that lockdown CB1 that we really haven't had since a Rod Woodson. We've had versions of it. I mean, Joe Hayden. We had Steven Nelson playing good for us. We had an Ike Taylor. But, like, Jalen Ramsey is in that all-pro tier, all-time Hall of Fame type of tier. And even though he is getting up there in age, he's not, like, too old. And I brought up this examples before. Darrelle Revis going to the Patriots. Patriots traded for him when he was on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Around the same age. He was like 29 or 30. Ends up winning a Super Bowl with the Patriots. Deion Sanders going to the Cowboys. He was around 29, 30. I think had one of his best seasons in his career with the Cowboys. Ended up winning a Super Bowl. I can't remember if it was 1 or 2. So the path for success with a move like this is there. It's just whether or not the Steelers are looking to make this aggressive of a move, because I feel like the Steelers would be completely fine if we stay put. We bring back most of our guys in free agency, like a Cam Sutton and Ogunjobi. We give Highsmith the extension. We have a good draft. Like, we would be on a fine pace there. But if we wanted to shuffle some feathers and say, hey, we're going all in, starting this year, KP8's on his rookie deal, then this is a legitimate option. And honestly, I wouldn't be opposed. I wouldn't be opposed either way. So I'm like 50-50 on this. I guess I'm kind of hedging, but I feel like there is a case for either side. And I feel like the Steelers would have success doing either thing, either making this move or staying put. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Big Deke News on a Friday. Enjoy the weekend. Stay safe out there. Stay chilling. Peace.